Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Slicey Boy Saturday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm your host, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we are going to be doing a battle of the orange folders, Ozark Trail versus Mossy Oak. Obviously, got Ozark Trail, and we got Mossy Oak. Almost the exact same knife. Definitely made in the same Chinese factory overseas, for sure. A little bit of differences here between the two of them. Very similar price points, very similar knives in general. Blades are a little bit different. Different setups here is what it is overall, but they look very similar is what it is. And they feel very similar in the hand. There's a little bit of distinction between them, obviously. And we'll go over everything here in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. This episode's probably not more than 10 to 15 minutes maximum today. And yeah, we'll just do everything from start to finish is what it is here on these things. So basically, about a couple of years ago now, Walmart made the original Ozark Trail orange little bug out, as people were calling this the lug out for a long time, what it is there. Because basically it was just kind of a rip-off version of, I believe it was a Benchmade knife, I want to say, but I could be wrong about that one. Obviously that Benchmade was like $150, $200, something crazy like that, whereas this was going for like around $10. I think I bought these on sale, specifically this one on sale for, I think it was around like $6 to $8 here at the end of, it was either last year or beginning of this year, one of the two. And it was a good deal, obviously, at the time. And I picked up several of them then, obviously, for my family members and stuff like that, because I wanted to get a couple of different ones for people. Plus, I wanted to get a couple extras to throw in various bug-out bags and stuff like that for myself and whoever else is with me to have. The biggest thing I will say, though, comparing these to Benchmade or any other company like that, the biggest difference is when you start looking at the Benchmade stuff, theirs only has an insert to about right here, I think is what it is, whereas these ones have a full insert, as do the Mossy Oak versions. And we're going to add something else in the mix here for today as a little show off there is what it is. Going and talking about I believe it is Benchmade ones. Their insert is very similar to this Pard EDC one, where it's only about right there is what it is. And then the rest of it's just empty scale is what it is there. And these go for about $10 on, I believe, Amazon is what it is there. And yeah, these things they're nice. They're also made of like, I think it's a 8 CR14 MOV steel is what it is. Whereas obviously both of the oranges are made with D2 of various calibers, obviously is what it is there. I'm not sure exactly what the Benchmade is made out of, but they charge like 15 times what you're paying for either one of the orange boys here is what it is today. So just absolutely ridiculously overpriced for what they actually are. And, no need to basically throw your money away like that's what it is, dude. Because as I've talked about this before, when it comes to a lot of firearms on the gun market and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff, it all comes down to you're basically paying for names in most cases, whereas you can get just as good of a thing for like an unknown name company or whatever the case be, or like a very lesser name company is what it is there, if not something better from that lesser known company for much, much less money is what it is there. So, while it might not be your, for instance, on a gun thing, it might not be like a Smith & Wesson, or it might not be a Glock or something like that, you're still getting just as good a quality with some of these other companies as what it is there. And the same thing with knives. Like, it might not be a Benchmade, or it might not be a Kershaw, or whatever the case be. It might be like an Ozark Trail or a Mossy Oak, but you're still getting good quality is what it is there, dude. And that's the entire point. You don't need to go paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for a knife when you could just as easily go to a store, pick up something for $10, $15 maximum, and get just as good a quality of stuff as what it is there. So, but anyway, we're going to go over the specs of each one of these, obviously. And the difference between the two. The biggest difference between these two, obviously, like I said, I think I paid $8 for this one. It was normally $10 for the Ozark Trail. This Mossy Oak one, I think, was 13 when I got it off of Amazon recently. The biggest difference I personally have come to notice with these two, and something I personally like better with the Ozark Trail one, is the way that the crossbar is on this. And as you can see how it kind of pops up a little bit there. And see, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my light. Here's what it is, and get better lighting in here. Yeah, as you can see right there, it's got a little bit of like extra X-dent, I guess is what I call it there, where it can easily pop out more is what it is there, versus the Mossy Oak ones has just that traditional like little pull tab that doesn't really come out too much is what it is. And that's the issue with any of these crossbars like this that have that particular kind of a crossbar on it, is it's not as good a quality, because it is much harder, especially people like myself that have arthritis in our hands is what it is. It's much harder for us to go in there and grab it with a finger and a thumb and yank it all the way back to get it to actually unlock completely from that position than it is for the Ozark Trail versions that have that little extra like excess tab that it is there that we can just go and it just deploys immediately like that. Very simple. Versus Mossy Oak here, it is much harder to do, and it doesn't really want to come all the way out because I think it doesn't have enough lube in the actual pivot points is what it is there. So second biggest difference, obviously, that I have seen just from looking at these side by side right now is what it is the actual pivots on there. So basically with the Ozark Trail one, you only have one side of this that is actually able to be a Allen wrench piece to pull apart is what it is there. The other side is just a total tab is what it is. Versus the Mossy Oak, each side has the ability to do a little Allen key in there is what it is to pop it apart is what it is. So, and then probably the biggest difference between these two when it comes to blade shape is another big one. With the this Ozark Trail won't even let me pop this out here is what it is without doing the tabs. See if the Mossy Oak actually does it the opposite way there. Yeah, that can actually deploy that way. So yeah, if you look at these knives, the way that they are on this, there's definitely a bit of difference between these two blades. If I can get them both in the same shot, there's what it is. Whereas the Ozark Trail has more of almost like a drop point, like almost like a humpback whale is what I call it there is what it is. Versus the Mossy Oak is more of just a traditional like drop pointy cleaver-ish piece is what it is there. And I want to say one of these is distinctively slightly bigger than the other, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is the way that the Ozark Trail one is right there. Yeah, if you look at how the Ozark Trail one is compared to the Mossy Oak there, I'm trying to cut myself obviously with this. There's definitely a distinctive, like slight advantage. It's probably like a couple millimeters, honestly, in length. So, yeah, there's definitely some excess length there on the Ozark Trail compared to the Mossy Oak is what it is there. Another big difference is the way that these clips on here are set up. Obviously, with the Mossy Oak one, you just have a straight clip. With the Ozark Trail version, it's kind of like a tilted one. And then, obviously, the scaling on here is slightly different as well. You have your Ozark Trail that has more of a like two-tone piece of there is what it is. It's pretty smooth. And then you have the Mossy Oak version. Let's see if I can just pop them. I'm going to try to get one of these to close, actually, just so I don't cut myself a little bit here. But yeah, you have the Mossy Oak version here. Jesus, that is hard to get down. That is more of just a one-piece scale is what it is there. And then, of course, when you have your pivots there, the big difference with the pivots, obviously, is you just have your little back pivot points here and here, and then the other ones for the Ozark Trail one are here and here. So they're slightly different, slightly off. Obviously, both are reversible clips. So you can carry left or right hand, is what it is. Obviously, I tend to carry in my left-handed pocket, is what it is there, mostly because I tend to carry my gun in my right-handed pocket, is what it is there, since I'm a right-handed shooter, is what it is. However, that being said, I do have an extra pocket that does have a secondary knife in it now at all times, and it's more or less I'm now carrying two different fixed blade, or I'm not carrying two different folders with me. There is a Flessa and there is a Mossy Oak one. They are both the versions that have a window breaker in them, so if something ever does happen to me or anybody else for that matter, or God forbid I'm in a vehicle crash with someone, what it is there, we're both, kind of messed up, whatever the case be. I now have the ability to have a knife in both my pockets, is what it is, in case something happens, or God forbid one of them would fall out, or whatever the case be, or break off or something like that in the crash and go flying. Like, I still hopefully have the other ones, what it is there as a backup, is what it is. So, but yeah, these are both good knives, is what it is from everything I've seen. Like I said, I think, honestly, the Ozark Trail just slightly wins out in this battle just because of the fact that it is slightly cheaper. It is actually more readily available to get to you, like, pretty much today if you want to go out today and get one, compared to the Mossy Oak where you got to go on Amazon and buy it, and it costs, like, anywhere from, like, $3 more to, like, $5-ish more with shipping handling is what it is there. And then secondarily, when it comes to the Ozark Trail one, the tabs alone to be able to pop this out is very easily, and that's basically how knives should be, man. It should be easy as fuck like that to get it done, as what it is there. I'm not sure why this is not wanting to be able to, like, loosen out with that. Yeah, like, it took me that whole thing to, like, pull it up the different part there is what it is to get it done. So unless there's, like, some kind of a weird, like, magnetic piece there, I'm wondering. Yeah, it almost seems like it might be like a magnet at the very bottom there is what it is. It's like keeping it locked in place a little bit. So you almost have to, like, pull those tabs just to, like, pop it with your thumbs, what it is there. Versus the Mossy Oak, you can usually just do. Maybe. There you go. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's magnetized or something there as well. Not quite as much though, but yeah, like I said, there is that distinctive piece right there with the little latch is what it is for the crossbar latch piece is what it is. And if any of these little crossbars like this came out any further, like how the Ozark Trail one does, here's what it is, they would be better off is what it is, dude. So some people are saying that the Mossy Oak one here is like the third generation, and this would be the second generation, will be the Ozark Trail one here that I have in my hand. So I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. If it is, it means they're going to be changing blade shape a little bit there, obviously, compared to the old Mossy Oak blade shape there, where now you have more of a traditional, like, cutting blade with the Mossy Oak version. So, and like I said, there's definitely differences between the two. The biggest difference I can see right now, just on the way that these blades are in here, is the jimping patterns. The Ozark Trail one, you just have that, like, little piece of jimping right here that is more or less, like, spread out pretty good, versus with this Mossy Oak one is right here. It's, like, super tight jimping and, like, kind of rough a little bit, to where you could easily, like, pop that off of a what do you call it now? Ferrocerium rod, and be able to get a spark off of that, where I'm not so sure you can get a spark off of this one, what it is. Or it might take a little bit more, whereas that one being a little bit rougher, you could easily get a good spark off of that pretty quickly, is what it is there. So, but yeah, that's the problem when these are a little bit more depressed in there, to, like, shove my thumb and my index finger together. It's, like, hard to do that without, like, leaving a permanent dent on my finger, whereas the Ozark Trail does not do that. And I could even do this with, like, just one thumb, dude. Don't have to use an extra finger. It just needs to be one thumb, honestly. So Which this might get better if I put like oil and stuff in here, but again, I shouldn't have to do that. That's what it is. You just come already pre-oiled and ready to roll. Is what it is out of the box. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think honestly, the Ozark Trail is probably a little bit better, is what it is, just for that reason. But yeah, they're both good knives. You can't really beat things under $15 is what it is. When you got one that's 10, one that was 13, and I think this was on sale for like 9 or 10 recently is what it is. So, they're both fairly good knives is what it is, dude. However, that being said, like I said, the Ozark Trail, just because of the thumb stud deployment, there's what it is. Of how the thumb studs are on the crossbar lock is what it is. It just gets that slight advantage because of that is what it is. Not to mention the fact I've been using this thing for like at least 4 months or something like that since I've gotten it. Maybe a little bit longer, not even. And I use that pretty much every single day or whatever where my packages comes in for stuff versus, having the Mossy Oak sit around. It's just basically, I've tried using this a few times what it is there, and it's not quite as good. It's still pretty sharp out of the box though. They're both pretty decently D2'd sharp out of the box as it is there, so you can't really go wrong either way. But like I said, there's definitely distinctions of stuff. Like this is fairly smooth right here, and you can see it's pretty much flat straight, whereas the Ozark Trail one, it's a little bit more rigid, to where it has almost like a bubble or like a rounded edge. There's what it is. And you can definitely feel like the rounded edge when you're rubbing your finger across the scaling that it is there. So, but yeah, both feel decent in the hand is what it is. Like there's not really any distinctive like go-to on either one of them is what it is there. They're both pretty much the same. So, like I said, internally, very, very similar. Yeah, so it is right now. Yeah, internally very, very similar, if not almost the exact same. Internals, just slightly different things than it is there. Like I said, really it goes down to being where the stud pieces are there for the back of the scalings. They're just slightly different offsides than it is there. And then the biggest distinctive pieces would be the knife shape when you're actually opening the knives. And then, of course, the actual takedown pin and the pivot pin is what it is here, where this one only has the one side that can be, Allen keyed out or whatever the case be, whereas the Mossy Oak, you can do it either side is what it is there. So, but yeah, overall, not bad knives at all for that matter. Definitely worth the price points that they're pointed at what it is there. So, yeah, if you guys want to pick up one of these or both of these, by all means, go ahead, try it out yourself. Like I said, anywhere from, I think it's 8 on sale to like 10-ish normally. And then obviously this one is 13 on Amazon. So, whereas the Ozark Trail ones are just Walmart exclusives, there's what it is. So you got to go to Walmart to get that one. I'm not so sure that they wouldn't have the Mossy Oak one in stock now, as what it is too, but who knows? The only place I've seen it right now is Amazon. So, and then of course, when you actually look at the knives themselves, you got the little, for the Ozark Trail one, you got the little D2 piece right there. And then it says China on it, obviously. Whereas the Mossy Oak one does not say China. And its little D2 is right here. So, but yeah, definitely, like I said, similar blade profiles, not quite the same, but similar. And, like I said, with this one, it's just a matter of, it definitely needs more lube or something in its pivot points. Something where you got to do an unscrew there and just like oil up internally and then put it back together kind of thing is what it is there, which again, it shouldn't have to come to that. Obviously, it should just be oiled enough right out of the factory to where it's going to be able to easily be deployed and whatnot. So, but yeah, either one I think would work for your everyday purposes. What it is there, either one would be fine for an EDC. You can't beat either price point. $10 to $13 there is what it is. So it's just a matter of, which do you like more, honestly. And I would say, honestly, between these two, I think the Ozark Trail one is like a slightly darker orange, just like slightly darker. But they're very similar in orange coloration there, obviously. So, yeah, only time will tell, how good they are. Obviously, when you're looking at these side by side there, you got the Mossy Oak is more like a tilt there is what it is, versus the Ozark Trail is more or less like almost like a rectangular, I guess is what I'd say on that one. So, but yeah, either one is good times what it is. So, hope you guys enjoyed this Slicey Boy Saturday. I will be back probably tomorrow for a Slicey Boy Sunday, where we'll do episode 22, which would have been done 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's what it is. And that'll be basically just us we'll do the battle of the DC-53 fixed blades, what it is on that one. Or sorry, not fixed blades. We'll do the battle of DC-53 folding knives, is what it is there. Where I believe it is CF or CCFFCC. And then I forget what the other company is called offhand I got a few months ago now is what it is. And I've already shown on the camera once before. And of course, there's some jackass driving their motorcycle out of here now. While trying to beat the rain that's coming in. Looks like I don't know if it's storming yet or not, but it looks like it's about to pour down any second now is what it is. I'm so glad I got about 2.5 hours to go to get food. My cousin and I went to Wally World about noon this afternoon. And yeah, I got some fresh fruit, a few other things. I completely blanked out to get I was trying to find canned fruit and I couldn't figure out what the canned fruit was. And then I completely passed up the cracker aisle where I was going to get some more Cheez-Its. So that was the only thing I really missed out on was the Cheez-Its, and then not being able to find some more canned pineapple to get, because I'm going to try to get my going again in the mornings. So that way I can actually have my metabolism do pretty well and be able to actually get a good chunk of weight loss going here. Hopefully in the coming months it'll be then. So anyway, but because I definitely want to get out here later this spring and summer, obviously, and test some of these blades out in the fields when it is then. I doubt I'll ever do I probably won't do these folders out in the field and stuff like that, but I definitely want to do some of the bigger fixed blades I have right now and do some chopping and stuff like that then at my aunt's farm and stuff and see how those will work and whatnot. So, but yeah, like I said, you got your little Mossy Oak orange, and then you got your Ozark Trail orange. Both are decent blades. Like I said, I think the Ozark Trail just does the slight beat out on that one, just because it's a few dollars cheaper, and then obviously the tabs is what it is, are just so easy to do. And like I said, when you have it being like oiled up like just enough in that pivot point to where it can just like easily fall like that, or maybe it could just be that it's like done up properly as what it is there compared to the Mossy Oak. Maybe it just needs to be like one screw back or something like that. Maybe it would be that loose or whatever. But yeah, it should easily be able to come that loose that easily, dude, and just deploy in any kind of situation, especially life and death situation if you need it for that reason. So, but anyway, that's about it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be situationally aware and ready for anything to happen, because you never know what's going to happen. We could very easily be in a situation very soon in this country where we're going to have to be fighting for our lives against very much Islamic terrorism. And that's exactly when you're going to want to have not only one knife on you, but multiple knives on you, plus firearm, et cetera, et cetera. There's what it is. So anyway, but yeah, I think it's about to start raining, so I don't know how good my signal is going to be in a couple minutes here. So yeah, I'm just going to call it a day on that one. And like I said, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow with another Slicey Boy Sunday then. If I don't do Slicey Boy Sunday then, I will definitely do 2 episodes next weekend, where we'll do a Saturday and a Sunday. And either one, if it's tomorrow or if it is next Saturday, that episode 22 will definitely be the DC-53 folders, both of which are very nice knives. And we'll probably start doing, obviously I didn't do any cutting with these ones today, but they are sharp enough. I can tell you guys that from previous experience using them, they definitely cut through stuff is what it is there. So we'll probably do something between the DC53s and just show like the sharpness test on those guys with various paper cutting and stuff like that's what it is there. So, but anyway, till later. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good rest of your Saturday. And if you want to know where I'm going to be at tonight, check out the Nightmare Hunters podcast where they're talking about cryptid stuff, because that's most likely where I will be at around 8 o'clock tonight whenever they do their stream there. It might be a situation too where I fall asleep while I'm listening to that, honestly. So it has happened before, and most likely right now I'm going to go and take a nap because my eyes are about to like literally glaze over. I'm just being so tired. So yeah, anyway, I will see you guys in the next one later.